Arabic has already a word for peace, it is salam. But then Arabic has already a word for submission, which is khada'a. Sorry, my Arabic is far from being perfect. So what does Islam mean? In this video, I would like to share some analysis that I found extremely useful in my research works that pointed towards a very interesting direction where Islam has a much more deeper meaning than I initially thought. So it is impossible to translate exactly many words that come from Arabic into languages from Greek or Latin backgrounds, because for many of them there might not be an obvious translation. This is from a linguistic point of view. But at the same time, when it comes to something like Islam, and I'm referring to a previous video, when it comes to taking into account the spiritual, moral, ethical, philosophical, cultural aspects, the ecosystem of Islam, it becomes a much more complex and difficult task. In that case, the best we can do is to find approximations for people who are not familiar with Arabic to try to grasp a sense of what does it mean. So this video is an updated version of a previous video I've done, and this is thanks to Mustafa Mohammed and Shahsawar Mumtaz, who pointed at some elements that needed correction. I'm William, I'm a research fellow in sociology at the University of Warwick in the UK. I got my PhD in 2016 from the EHESS in Paris. And the findings in this video stem from two peer-reviewed works I have published previously, my first book, Young Muslim Changemakers, and the book chapter, which is titled People Do Not Convert But Change, Critical Analysis of Concepts of Spiritual Transitions. It was in Karin van Nieuwkerk's edited volume called Moving In and Out of Islam, about the dynamics of conversion and leaving Islam and so on and so on. So these writings do not mean that I hold the truth, and far from it. Your peer-reviewed process means that the scientific community finds your work of certain use, that you are bringing new perspectives, or you just like bringing food for thought, which were my only intentions. First of all then, what Islam doesn't mean. Islam comes from the Arabic root sin, lam, mim. And many people have found that this is the same root found in the word salam, which means peace, and have equated Islam with salam, with peace. However, these are two different words for a reason. They have two different meanings. For example, you can have two neighbors living in peace, but not talking to each other, which is not exactly the point of Islam, where it's explicitly stated that neighbors should take care of each other. Some linguists argue that Islam does not come from the verb istaslama, to surrender, and that similarly Islam doesn't mean submission, as Arabic has already a word for submission, which is khada'a. However, the Compendium of Muslim Texts compiled by University of South California Muslim Student Association points at the direction that the noun Islam is the masdar, or the source of the verbal noun of the verb aslama, which means to give up, to submit, to surrender, to give into, to hand over. However, there is a catch. The existence of two words sharing the same root in Arabic doesn't necessarily mean that they are linguistically related. They could mean two different things. And words derived from the same root can have, therefore, a complete different meaning despite a similar linguistic heritage. Let me give you some examples. You have the word salama, which means the stinging of a snake or the tanning of leather. Then you have another word like sulam, which means ladder or stairs. And you have salim, which means safe from harm, undamaged. And similarly, a same word can have different meanings according to different contexts, which means that although Islam actually shares its roots, sin, lam, mim, with many different words, and linguistically comes from aslama, the verb, it might mean something slightly or even completely different. So at the end of the day, back to the fundamental question, what does Islam mean? For the next part, so I wanted to explore, to leave the field of linguistics and venture into the field of philosophy. So very interestingly, one of the most useful analyses that I came across come from the philosopher Neil Gilman, who analyzes Hebrew texts. He analyzes words in the Hebrew scriptures very similar to Salam and sharing the same roots, because Arabic and Hebrew are, at the end of the day, Semitic languages. So he analyzes the word shalom. It is important to remember that roots by themselves do not have a specific meaning, and they rather have an array of different semantic relations, so in meanings, which are often produced by history and analogies. And this is what Neil Gilman is trying to do with his analysis. So shalom is usually translated as peace. However, Neil Gilman argues that in the Hebrew scriptures, because the term has many other different usages, it might mean something different. In the book of Isaiah, for example, God says, "I form the light and create darkness. I make shalom and create ra," the chaos, disorder. "I am the Lord that does all these things." So Neil Gilman suggests that not only Shalom and Ra are two different and opposite entities, but he argues that they are created before any living being. And as peace usually refers to something existing between people or entities at risk of conflict, it doesn't make sense to say that there was peace first as the opposite of chaos, and this at the beginning of the universe. As a consequence, he argues it means something deeper. So Gilman explains that this enables us to translate shalom not as the conventional peace, but rather completeness, harmony, or simply cosmos, and Ra as its opposite, chaos. Can we draw parallels between Gilman's analysis to Hebrew texts and Arabic or Islam? Linguistically, it could be far stretched. However, from a philosophical point of view, there are some elements that kind of make sense. Let me tell you, for example, about completeness. It is mentioned in the Quran that the revelation to Muhammad aimed at making the religion complete, meaning that before the revelation, there were people following Christianity, Judaism, and many other monotheisms, and these were imperfect forms of the religion because the scriptures have been altered or fragments have been lost, and the religion has been distorted. So with the Quran, it was meant to make the religion complete again and perfect in its original shape, in a sense. And actually in Islam, the word Islam itself does not refer specifically and only to like a religion or a belief, because there are some other words like deen, ahdab, and Islam at the same time was present since the beginning of the creation. Islam existed before Muhammad. It was the religion of the previous prophets since Adam, but Islam existed even before humans. Because it is clearly mentioned in the Quran that the mountains, the angels, the plants all bow to Allah and only Him. Thus, it makes sense to consider Islam as a form of cosmic order that was created by Allah since the beginning, and which is kind of similar to the concept in Sanskrit of dharma in a way. If we look at some Urdu analysis of what Islam is, it is sometimes called nizam, which again can mean different things, but is roughly translated in English by terms such as order, equilibrium, balance, law, and others. The other problem is that in the original Hebrew Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, words were only written with their root, meaning that there were only the equivalent of sin lam mim written, and people would extrapolate these words according to, again, the contexts and analogies they could make. And because we've seen that words sharing the same roots can mean different things, even similar words can mean different things. It means that Gilman's analysis, although making sense from a philosophical point of view, can be linguistically incorrect. However, as a conclusion, I would like to come with a different theory, but again, it's only a theory. When it comes to peace, surrender, balance, order, harmony, law, what if all of these meanings were not mutually exclusive? What if Islam meant all of these things simultaneously? Because Islam is a deen that people can actively choose or not. But at the same time, here the paradox, people are submitted, willing or not, to the laws of physics, chemistry, mathematics, and whatever they do to escape from them. Before even the humans were created, the universe was running smoothly and everything was balanced, everything was like harmonious, that is to say, darkness and light, and this until the humans came into the equation. And moreover, humans took upon themselves the duty of stewardship, even though the mountains themselves refused. And this is big because it means that the human condition and this duty of stewardship gives humans therefore a choice. Either you keep, you restore, you take care of this harmony, or you break it. And the Quran was therefore revealed as a means, as a guidance for people not only to be aware of the situation, but also how to work towards restoring this initial harmony. Therefore, accepting Islam could mean to surrender oneself to this cosmic order that was created initially by God and work towards safekeeping the harmony that was present since the beginning. And while accepting and surrendering perhaps to the way that God has offered as a guidance about how to actually make it happen. So what would that mean in daily life? Well, everyone is free, people have free will, so everyone is free to make whatever they want and they like. However, I want to see things that way. What is life if not making this conscious choice? Are we working towards chaos or are we working towards harmony? The Prophet of Islam, even it is written in the Quran, came as a mercy, a rahmah, for all of the creation, even the mountains and the plants, not just the humans. So if Muslims say that they follow the Sunnah of the Prophet, what is the purpose of life if not being a mercy towards each other and the whole of the creation? The bottom line, if this analysis is true, and again I want to repeat that it could be completely wrong, it is just a theory, this could mean that at the end of the day, the meaning of Islam could be actually very simple. It would be before every word we say, before every action we take, before every decision we make, asking ourselves a very simple question. Are we choosing, or saying, or doing things in the way of chaos, or are we, with our actions, our words, and our choices, are we bringing harmony? But again, I am far from being a theologian or a linguist, and it is customary and relevant to say in that case at the end of every work, well, at the end of the day, Allah knows best. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video was useful, but again, do not bother subscribing to my channel or boosting my engagement rates, as I do not believe in the power of the algorithm. I believe in much more deeper things. I wish you to enjoy an agreeable rest of your day, evening, night, or whatever type and frame you are currently in. And until then, take care of each other, and till next time.